Thursday Night Motorsport for you, continuing across Facebook and YouTube, coming to you now for dessert, at least on the back of main course Formula V action from the Nürburgring Nordschleife in Germany. The scene, of course, the setting next week, of course, for Formula V action. But tonight we're on the mad, notorious Green Hell that played host to the penultimate round of the campaign last term in diabolical conditions. Thankfully, this time round, we're so far looking at fine, clear, blue skies, clear conditions, dry. Can't ask for much more than that because I reckon there's still a few people recovering from the deluge they copped last time around. There might be a little bit of post-traumatic stress disorder going on from all of that. And there might even be a couple of drivers still drying off, quite frankly. Such was the volume of water we were contending with on that occasion. Travis has a party. He's just messaged me via Discord. I can't actually type and talk at the same time, mate, so I hope you're listening to the broadcast. We are broadcasting the Elite Split tonight. At least that's what I was told we were broadcasting. So yes, the Elite Split tonight, and to do that, or to help me do that for you and with me in the central commentary position to bring you all the action is Andrew Neal, back from his excursion, I could say, to the Harbour City. Of course, we love the Harbour City, but the best part about it is leaving, usually 9 times out of 10, just such as the rip-tear Russian bus nature of it. Yes, we are broadcasting the Elite Split tonight. We will go back and showcase some open split racing next week because we're going sprint racing from Donington Park next Thursday night. There's the track service settings and weather conditions for you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll have a look at all of that in more detail in just a moment. 25.18 kilometres around is this Grand Prix circuit, with the extension of the notorious Nordschleife, which recently, of course, played host to the iRacing officials 24 hours, the Nürburgring, and will soon play host to the real-world equivalent. It's only a week or so away. Point standings coming into this round: Night 4, Week 4, Term 2, and this will be, for you, ladies and gentlemen, the 5th race of the campaign, which means that there's a lot of work still to be done in this series. It's a 16-race championship, and this is only race number 5, which means we've got 11 to go, and that's helped by the fact that we've got 3 sprint rounds and a super sprint round in the final 6 weeks of the season. So there's 9 of them ticked off for you. Sam Chapman holds the lead in this points race at the moment on the back of claiming second last week. That was on the back of a dominant performance from Jordan Malcolm to claim line right honours. He said a hard pass without any sort of hesitation to the Nordschleife tonight. So we'll see him again at a later point in the season. But Sam Chapman, good start to the campaign for him. 3rd, 5th, 1st and 2nd. He holds sway at the top of the leaderboard. 286 plays Luke Alavoine 267, Ben Snell 258, and Craig Bond 253. 243 for Willie Blair makes up the top 5 on the points table at the moment. Jaden Draper, Jason Wilkinson, Jonathan Akers, Luke Brooker and Paul Wood make up the top 10. Now, as is so often the case at the Nürburgring, we are 2 minutes into overtime with qualifying. There are 8 drivers in total that have set a lap in qualifying. Chapo's trying to do that right now. I think time's going to get the better of him. John Merritt's also out there at the moment. Jonas Deggan hasn't bothered. Craig Bond hasn't bothered. Luke King is still in pit lane. Jaden Draper's trying to complete a lap. Paul Wood, John Akers, Dane Snadden haven't bothered. Matt Schmidtke is trying to get out there and at least familiarise himself with the circuit on the back of a late finish to Formula V. Cooper Friend, Nathan Harvey, Cameron Dagan, Joel Janssens are all in the server, and Jason Wilkinson hasn't been able to register a lap through 2 attempts. So qualifying into overtime, which means we'll have a slightly later start to the race proceedings than what otherwise might have been anticipated, but that is part of the course, the nature of the beast. Because the longer the circuit, the more carryover time iRacing allows you or permits you in order to try and finish the session authentically by finishing the lap. If this was a sprint round, it's just a hard chop, session done, cop that at the end of the disclosed amount of time. But for this one, Yes, a little bit of discretion shown. You will have some carryover time, and we can get stuck into hopefully completing a full lap. And if not, we'll obviously we'll just wait patiently for the race server to kick into gear, or for the server to shift into the race portion of the session's settings. Now, Aeroplane Kelly, feel like I've repeated grade 3. I was competing with last season, have gone up, and okay. Poor old Kelly's been left behind in the open split while everyone else has been promoted up into the elite split. And that actually is probably a good point to start on. There have been a couple of drivers drafted into this series, namely Paul Wood, Joel Jansen's Jordan Dakin, so too Nathan Harvey, and also Dane Snadden. They have all been promoted up, along with Cameron Dakin. So we've got some new names in the pro split tonight, in the elite split, in the bid, in the hope that we can somewhat sort out. And hello, Kurt Nommenson, chiming in, getting ready for his race to start from the open split as well. We'll have the results from the open split at the end of the broadcast, hopefully, for you folks. That's an interesting thing, as I welcome in Andrew Neal for the first time this evening. Hello to you, mate. Good to have you back. We've had to try, and I don't envy Adam Lavis the task at hand there, but in order to eliminate the discrepancy between the grid sizes here, he's had to move the goalposts, and a couple of the open guys have been promoted just to try and even out the two grids here. It'll be interesting to see who rises to the challenge and to the occasion tonight and shines in the elite split. And then obviously that'll bring with it the questions of, well, why weren't they here earlier? But I'm looking forward to this 60 minutes. Dry conditions, 2 compulsory pit stops, about 8 laps of racing, we reckon. So the race will go into overtime, being that it's an 8-minute lap, but we're looking forward to it nonetheless. If he's here with me, I know he is, because you wouldn't be seeing the pictures at home if Andrew Neal wasn't with me, but I can't hear him at the moment.
Sorry, Zach, I sure am.
Oh, I've got him. Hello, sir.
I was busy doing something else. I wasn't listening, so I apologize.
That's all right. Big shot for Chapo. He's given up on the lap. 6 minutes into overtime in qualifying, and he was nearly at the end of the lap. Still about 25 cars in open to go with, what did we work out? 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23 cars lining up here in the elite split. So 23 and 25. So how's that for sort of balancing the account there, ladies and gentlemen? We've somewhat evened the spread, which was the aim, quite frankly, because the pro numbers just didn't add up the last couple of weeks. The racing was quality, but the field sizes were not. So, I guess whilst we wait for this, it feels like what am I trying to? When you get to the end of a reality TV show and they just drag out the conclusion of it just to keep everybody on the edge of their seat, slowly getting impatient, ready to throw stuff at the television, that feels like where we're at the moment. Just those tense, nervous, anxious final few moments, knowing that the start is imminent, but having no idea how much carryover time there is on the end of the session, because that's all that iRacing's discretion, of course. We are 7.25 minutes past the end of the qualifying, scheduled 30 minutes of the qualifying session now, but because it is an open qualifying session, you do get the chance to complete the lap you're on in most instances, which means that we should have no more or no less than 8 minutes of carryover time. And apologies in advance, this will be hit or miss, says Luke Alavoine, from 6th position on the grid. I did read somewhere earlier in the day that he was feeling a little bit under the weather. I may as well go around the grounds for you as we hit 7 minutes to 9 Eastern time. 5:3:33 Hawthorn, now trailing Fremantle, 5:5:35. They've just slotted one through the big sticks. And in the NRL at Suncorp Stadium, the Dolphins 14 lead the Bulldogs 12, and we have 39 minutes and 15 seconds to go in the second half. They've just got the second half of proceedings underway up there. Thanks, Kelly. Appreciate that. Good luck in the open split, boys. We hope for the very best there. How are they driving this car around here? They are wheeling out of corners. It's gonna be fun for you, Trav, in race control. It's going to be fun for us here in central commentary as well. 8.5 minutes into overtime in qualifying now for you. To give you some sort of an idea, 8 minutes 10.333 for Cam Culverwell was the pole time. 8:12.383 for Benny Snell in second position there. And as a result of that, if we're basing it on 8 minutes 10, well, that gives you 57 minutes and 20 seconds for 7 laps. And we're still in the quali server, by the way, folks. It's a 9:09 local server time. And then on the back end of that, there'll be obviously 2 compulsory pit stops, but the transit time won't be terribly long. We shouldn't lose 2 minutes 50 in that transit. So we should, by all rights, get an 8th lap in, but it will come with a fair degree of overtime in the race itself. 15-kilometre-hour winds at the moment. I'll worry about those track and weather service settings in just a tick when we do tick into the race session of the server. And we're looking forward to this one immensely. Chapo will be starting from well back in the order. John Merritt's a wild card, throwing his hat into the ring. Bondi's not bothered with the qualifying time. It'll be interesting to see who rises to the challenge here. But what I can tell you is probably Adam Lavis might not have to worry about most positions gained, because with only 9 drivers setting a lap in qualifying, the most positions gained bonus point could well come from any number of drivers outside that top 9, and therefore we could be in a little bit of trouble. Trav has a party just informing us that the session won't advance. iRacing not allowing him to do that. That's okay. I'm happy to pad and BS my way through the next couple of minutes here. It'll be interesting because there are only 9 drivers eligible for those most positions gained. But really, when you look at who's there, I don't think Benny Snell will be getting most gain, because he can only gain +1. Luke Alavoin's possibility with as much as +5 or 6. But I get a feeling that a couple of those guys might have minus next to their name at the end of the night, which means, it's going to be very interesting to see how Adam Lavis determines who has been able to get the most positions gained in all of that, because to fill in the uneducated, you need to be... you need to have set a qualifying time, a representative competitive qualifying time, to be eligible for that that bonus of most positions gained, those bonus points, which are such a vitally important part of the narrative here. How many times have we referenced bonus points being the difference between making it as a champion in one of our championships or losing out by, single-digit margins? It's happened more times than we would care to remember, ladies and gentlemen, but you can still get bonus points for clean race, fastest lap, and also, of course, pole position. So pole position bonus points have gone to Cam Culverwell as we now await the start of proceedings here. "42 minutes into this qualifying session. Unbelievable. So we can't actually say that we haven't got our value for money tonight, because iRacing have actually given us more time. There it goes. Oh, thank Christ. So, closer to 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we're getting ready to rock and roll. We're approaching 11 o'clock on the West Coast. We are approaching 11 o'clock in New Zealand and 7 o'clock on the West Coast. I knew what I was trying to say. And 9 o'clock on the East Coast here in Australia, and we are getting ready to rock and roll, and they are lining up on the main straight. So thankfully no rolling start here like what we have with GT3, like what we have with Formula V at the moment. We are ready to rock and roll. 18, 19-kilometre-hour winds, an exact northeasterly direction at the moment at 45 degrees. 21 the ambient, 34 on track, partly cloudy conditions. 48% humidity. Now, there are a lot of drivers here who haven't set a representative competitive lap time. So how they've been determined to be sitting on the grid is entirely luck of the draw, I'm sure. Cam Culverwell and Ben Snell hold sway on the front row. Willie Blair, Jaden Draper the second, Jeff Adams, Richard King the third, Luke Alavoine and Todd Suter the fourth, and then Jordan Dakin from 5. And that's it as far as those that have set a representative lap time is concerned. Sam Chapman from the outside of row 5 makes up the top 10. John Merritt, Jonas Deggan from 6. Craig Bond, Luke King from 7. Paul Wood and John Akers from 8. Dane Snadden, Matt Schmidtke from 9. From 10, it's Cooper Friend and Nathan Harvey. Then Cameron Dakin, Joel Janssens and Jason Wilkinson. And I'm pleased to tell you, I'm pleased to say that after 2 minutes of grid formation time, we have all but Jonas Deggan on the grid. We're just waiting for him to come into position. And if he doesn't, then obviously we're going racing with 22. And we'll have our first confirmed non-starter of the night. We are set to rock and roll. This is round 4 of the GSRC Porsche Cup, Thursday night motorsport. Let's go to work at the Nürburgring Nordschleife. Finally! We were waiting for an eternity. Let's hope it was worth the wait. Beautiful start, Cam Culverwell and Ben Snell. Snelly to the inside, hold sway at 1. They flick it back through the left-hander. So that's the first part of next week's Formula V course. And there's a little right-hander there that takes you over into the back straight, right there where those witches' hats are. So that is the portion of circuit we're using next week for Formula V, for those of you that were wondering at home. Through we go. First time, Benny Snell, Cam Culverwell, Willie Blair, Jaden Draper and Luke Alavoine. We envisage no more than 8 laps here. A good 65 minutes of action ahead of you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. There has already been a jump start for Luke King. Oh, no. And Jonas Deggan has joined from the back of the grid. Jonas did join from the back of the grid after sitting on pit road for 11.88 seconds. So it's a late, he's a late bloomer. He arrives fashionably late to the party, but he's out there. And Greg Heaney reckons there's not enough sound coming through from the circuit. I can't hear anything. So I'm hoping that you're still hearing me, and that whenever that noise does come through, it's not overriding me. 1.5 minutes gone. We're 1 lap into it if we're on the Grand Prix course, but we're not even a fifth of the way through a lap on the notorious Nordschleife. Out along this magnificent bit of real estate we go now. They call it the Green Hell for a reason. Have a look at it, the way it flows through the mountain range. Grass to the left, grass to the right, Armco not too far away, ready to bite hard. Should anyone stray offline here, you have got to be so respectful of the real estate, or otherwise you pay the price. And as we've already seen here, by virtue of the way in which qualifying went so far over time, I can't imagine a pleasant waiting period for you on the tow rope here either, Andrew Neil. If you get towed here, you may as well park it. It's going to be, you're going to lose almost quarter of your race getting towed back to pit lane.
Certainly is. It's a big wait waiting for the tow truck to go round. Yeah, really knocks the wind out of sails.
Indeed it does. So we might have to go back and have a look at a replay of the start shortly for you folks to determine what the hell happened to Luke King there. We're of the belief that he's jumped the start, so that is unfortunate. Travis has a party has disqualified himself as the race control admin there. He's disqualified himself. That's that black flag with the white cross through it on the bottom of your screen there. Because Trav has joined as a driver, not as an admin. So you're going to see his name and that icon all night for the next hour, folks. So I just wanted to jump on that early and let you know that that's what that flag means. That's what that's all about. We saw that flag make an appearance last week. Actually, Mark Heppel got that treatment courtesy of not serving a mechanical meatball in, I think it was Formula V, actually. Through we go again at Summit Point. Jordan Dakin's run into trouble early. He's down 11 spots. Todd Suter's down 5. Richard King's down 3. They're the big losers on the opening lap. The big gains, the beneficiaries, Dane Snadden up 7, Cooper Friend up 8, if you don't mind. How's that for not even half a lap of running? Not quite 4 minutes into it. And they are up +7 and +8 from 17th and 19th on the grid, respectively. 4 minutes gone. Lap 1. It's an 8-minute lap. 8 minutes and change. We'll go around the grounds to the AFL, the NRL for you very shortly. An update on what's going on there. But let's have a look at the restart, or the race start, I should say. So we're keeping an eye on Luke King. He attracted that black flag as he left the start line. So unfortunately, it looks as though he's jumped marginally. Yeah, beast proverbial, really. There's not much in that. Blinder of a start from Cooper Friend and Dane Snadden. But Jordan Dakin, the one that's run into trouble early here, down 11 spots. So again, that makes it even harder because Dakin was the last of those that settled representative lap time in qualifying. So when you're trying to remember the 9 that qualified with regards to most positions gained and most positions lost, well, currently Luke Alavoine with +2 is holding on to that number right now. Well, nearly. I can hear the noise coming through now, and that's really loud. So hopefully everybody else at home is hearing that he's still hard at work there as well. But my whoa wasn't necessarily, it was just conveniently simultaneous with the noise coming into my headset, but it was Snelly with 2 wheels in the grass on the way through there. Coincidence.
Yeah, that was weird on the audio.
Well, yes. You can take Luke King out of the equation. We know he's got to drive through. And even though it's not a death sentence around here, it does upset his chances of factoring in the equation at the end of the 60 minutes because it won't count as a compulsory pit stop. So essentially he is gifting the field 20-odd seconds before we get going. There is Ben Snell in second at the moment, out chasing Cam Calverwell. I'll be interested to see. I know Luke Alavoine's not been 100% well. He's been a bit under the weather by his own admission on Instagram. But you know what will be interesting? Just to see how much it has an impact on him over the course of the hour. He's already up +2. And I think anything that resembles a top 5 finish, survival, getting through, bagging the points and getting ready to press on is going to be a solid result for him at a pass mark. Jordan Dakin, that was what happened to him just off the road and had to yield and rejoin safely, giving way to the oncoming traffic on the way through. But yeah, so far it's a good start for Alavoine. And anything on top of +2 will be a bonus. If he can stay in touch with, he's only 6.7 seconds off the lead. And as long as he can stay in touch comparative with, say, Sam Chapman, who's up against him in the championship, Chapo leads it by 19 points coming into this round. And obviously, that's where his mindset, his probably focus and attention needs to be at the moment. Connor, I made a deal with myself a few days ago. Once I pass, here we go. Okay, so once I pass lung cancer and can afford it, I will get the T598 so I finally have a PS5 compatible wheel. Okay, Connor, all the best with the treatment. Hope that goes well. I read the first line of that and got a chuckle because everyone, talks about making deals with themselves all the time. So I got a chuckle out of that. And then I had to step back a moment and read the rest of your message there. And hopefully you can beat that mongrel and ring the bell and then get back out there on track and in the thick of the action. Now, we are following Sam Chapman at the moment. I'm not sure, actually. I think this is replay at the moment. Or is this live? Yeah, it is replay. I thought so. There they are across the line. Benny Snell trials Cam Calverwell by 0.1 of a second at the end of the first lap. Through 8 minutes and 20 seconds. And this is the interesting thing as well, Andrew Neil. We saw it in the opening, in the last time out here, even though it was an absolute deluge of rain that we were contending with. The lap times comparative to, this is one of those rare instances where you can't really gauge the race pace based off the qualifying pace, because in qualifying you're leaving nothing on the table, but this is not one of those circuits where you can afford to go 10 tenths, 60 minutes all the way through. You've got to treat the track with respect, and that might mean that those 8-minute 10 times that we're seeing in qualifying, they're not a fair reflection of where the race pace is going to be. So they've just navigated their way through the Schumacher S for the second time. We only expect to do this part of the racetrack 8 times, ladies and gentlemen. Luke King's already been to pit lane and out again. He rejoins down in 20th. Todd Suter had to come to pit lane lap 1. And so too did Cameron Dakin. Now, what's interesting for mine in all of this, where the fuel tanks are, what the range is, because if we're only doing 8 laps, and you can break it down the middle that way, so I'm thinking that those guys are obviously of the belief that they might already be in the pit window. And so lap 1, maybe they're pitting either lap 4 or lap 5 and hoping that they can get it home. It'll be interesting to see what the leaders do and what constitutes a full run, a burn the tank dry sort of run, whether it's 3 laps or 4 laps. Because the simplistic way for me to go about it, if I'm working it out mathematically speaking, and again, maths isn't the strong point, but if you can go 3 laps comfortably and 3 laps comfortably, then in that third stint, after the second stop, you've only got to go 2 laps. There's going to be someone that zigs and zags, so we're going to see 1 and 3 and 4, or 1 and 4 and 3, or we're going to see 2 and 3 and 3, or 2, or maybe 3, 2 and 3. There'll be a couple of different ways in which these guys go about breaking it up. But if you go straight down the middle, 3 and 3, that leaves 2. So there will be, I would imagine, one stop here that is slightly longer than the other. Dane Snadden putting the pressure on Luke Allavoine at the moment, and Cooper Friend. So Allavoine's lost out. He's dropped down behind Bond and Adams. Not sure what happened to Allavoine. Have a look behind Dane Snadden. That's John Merritt coming through on the inside of Richard King and moving up into 11th spot. Kingy's got the run off the corner trying to get by Merritt, and will do so. King gets by Merritt. Wowee. So Merritt struggling to grasp this new Porsche 992.2 Cup car at the moment. Culverwell, Snell, then Blair, Draper, Chapman, Bond, Adams and Allavoine, the top 8 at the moment. Cooper Friend is 9th and Dane Snadden is 10th. Luke King, riding the ripple strips and the wall, around he goes. Insult, meet injury. When he's already had the black flag next to his name tonight. So that's a second invoice for him, and more damage done in terms of trying to overturn that deficit and try and catch the field. Oh. So that's Friend and Snadden still arguing over the same piece of real estate. Boys, it's an hour race. It's not the widest racetrack in the world. 2x2 might not be a smart way of operating this early in the piece.
This is one of those great racetracks, Zach, where it's always good to work with the opposition, keep closing the gap on the guys in front, not lose.
I'm really glad you said something positive about the racetrack. I thought for a moment there you were going to say this is one of those racetracks where I'm very happy to be sitting in the commentary box.
After 24 hours on the weekend, the Porsche Cup Cup, absolutely happy to be.
How was that experience for you on the Whiskey Business Racing stable?
And it was all right. had plenty of what would be real-world mechanical issues. The server dropped out. Yeah, I think we dropped out of the server about 5 or 6 times. So
it is off the road and through the grass. Jordan Dakin picks up a 3-point post-race penalty. So that'll be 3 points taken off his championship tally tonight at the end of proceedings for the incident that he had on the opening lap. Already 14 minutes into this race. So far, so good. So far, so good. For most of the field, Jonas Deggen is still running. He's in this battle pack here, folks, but unfortunately not a fair reflection of his track position at the moment on our screen because of the fact that he's showing a lap down just because of a timing glitch at SDK's end. Once that's overturned and sorted, and it does self-correct more times than not, we'll have a fair indication of where Jonas is. My guess is that he's somewhere around Jordan Dakin at the moment in position 17. Culverwell trying to break clear of Eddie Snell. This is a very good start from Cam Culverwell. Impressive what he's bringing to the table tonight. 190 points so far throughout this campaign. 8th, 11th and 8th, these three finishes. A non-classified in race 1 at Long Beach. But this would be by far and away the biggest moment of his GSRC Porsche Cup racing career. If he can go on with it and keep someone of Betty Snell's calibre at bay. Snelly, it's been great to see him back on track this season on the platforms of the GSRC and back in a dominant way across multiple servers, multiple nights, carving it up in the Toyota 86s and also here in the Porsches. It's great to watch. Oh no, Richard King and Dane Snadden. Richard King on the tow rope. What about Dane Snadden? Oh dear. We'll see a replay in a moment, I'm sure, but Richard King is on the tow rope and Dane Snadden may as well be. Have a look at that. That's going nowhere but the back of the garage, Dane. He's going to try and limp it home only because the tow rope job is so much more detrimental an invoice. Richard King, aware of that, has already parked up. He's done. Exit stage left. Night over for Richard King and Subpar Racing. What on earth has gone on here? And Snadden's going to bounce off just about every bit of Armco that the Nordschleifer has to offer in a bid to get back to the lane. No, he's not. He's not even going to get there. Dane Snadden concedes defeat as well. And Ben Snell was momentarily off the road, coming back onto the main straight. 2 laps gone at the Nürburgring. Culverwell leads by 1.5 from Snell. There's Matty Schmidtke up in position number 12 right now. Paul Wood down on the outside of Joel Janssens to go into 13th. Good move. So it's lively. All of a sudden it's lively. 8:14.341 for Willie Blair last lap around. And Sam Chapman up 6 spots already. 4 seconds off the pace. Big crash, big shunt. That was the first one for Dane Snadden. But what's happened further on in the lap? We saw the Snadden incident live. And then after that, this is what's happened to Richard King. No positions gained or lost for the top 3 at the moment. Chapo hasn't qualified, but is up +6. Craig Bond didn't qualify, but he's up +7. And the margin, 1st to 4th. Oh, curb. Oh, no. Oh, disaster for Richard King. And Dane Snadden in a completely separate, isolated incident. Bang. Oh, no. That is a monumental crash for those 2 men. Separate incidents, but they ended up conjoined. And they end up, well, Kingy's out, and Snadden may as well be. Unbelievable. Cameron Dakin has parked up and is done for the night as well. I didn't see that. So Cameron's parked up and done. Joel Janssens remains 14th. It's survival of the fittest mode out here at the moment. Jonas Deggen rejoins in 15th spot now that the order has corrected itself. Mechanical black flag, unsurprisingly, for Dane Snadden. Todd Suter has already been into pit lane to complete his first compulsory pit stop. It's madness. It's mad. Whoa! Jaden Draper, 2 wheels in the grass. Commitment plus on the limiter. Chasing Sam Chapman at the moment. Margins, 1.3 first to second, and then it's another 2.1 back to Willie Blair. 4.3 from Willie Blair to Sam Chapman, who's got nearly a second on Jaden Draper. You can see that on your screen. 2.5 seconds clear of that. There's Craig Bond popping into your picture in position number 6, and Jeff Adams in behind him. 1.84 seconds in arrears. Over the crest they go. There's no small accidents at this circuit, Andrew.
No, there's not. Very high speed every week. Really a slow selection in the track and lots of arm coat.
Indeed, there is. Let's have a look. Solid run from Chapo. Consistent with what we've seen from him so far in this Porsche Cup campaign. And because it is such a difficult circuit to master and get right, and an even more difficult circuit to overtake on. Once that field spreads out, you're kind of fending for yourself. And he's done that. It's not entirely beyond the realms of possibility. 8.2 seconds is not a death sentence around here. But we have only got 5 laps to go next time by the line, and we've only got 40 minutes of racing to go next time by the line. So Chapo's going to have to work hard here to try and reel in that deficit, especially when Willie Blair is as consistent as he's been, and Benny Snell and Cam Caldwell haven't put a foot wrong yet either. We pick up John Merritt now. He's got a Landval smash repairs type vibe going on about that car at the moment. Have a look at the paint scheme on that. Excellent. Updating you on Thursday night football. We can tell you that the Hawks lead Freo by 15 points, 59 plays, 44 at halftime in the AFL. The NRL, the Dolphins currently getting the upper hand on the Bulldogs there at Suncorp Stadium, 32 points to 12. There were only 171 laps turned in 24 hours last weekend, says Greg Heaney. Geez, that's a rough old race, isn't it? When it's 8 minutes and 10 a lap. Well, that would have included safety cars and the like, I'm assuming, Greg, as well.
No safety cars.
Oh, no safety cars. Oh, righto. Yeah, righto.
When your car out there on your lonesome.
So 171 times, okay, let's say 8.25.
Looks like Dane's had another crash.
It does. John Merritt has been passed by Cooper Fernandez. What? That's cut off the road! Wowee! At high speed, and John Akers goes through as a beneficiary of that argy-bargy. Cooper Friend elbows out on John Merritt. My goodness. That could have been ugly. Really, really ugly. And the red mist will be descending on John Merritt right now, Andrew.
I think race control will be having a good look at that one.
Yeah, Greg's about on par. I mean, when you take pit stops and everything else into consideration, 171 laps in green flag running, 24 times 60 is 1,440 minutes. And if we say 8.25 minutes to a lap and times that by 171, that's 1,410 minutes, so that's 23 and a half hours, and that's just a green flag running before you take into consideration pit stops and obviously the hold-ups with lap traffic and other things. So yeah, 100. That's a long night out. That's a long day. 171 laps, and good luck trying to pick a vantage point around there because there's so many of them. Through they go. Caldwell, Snell, Blair, Chapman, Draper, Bond, and Adams. See, this is the thing, right? I get that it's a cultural experience, and I get that it's a bucket list thing for most people, but you couldn't pay me to go and be a trackside spectator at the Nürburgring, at the Nordschleife anyway. you would get nowhere near enough of the story to make it worth the price of admission. You get a much better view on the television, as what we're showing you right now. Oh, Benny Snell's dropped back. Benny Snell has dropped behind Willie Blair. Willie Blair has gone to second. Willie Blair to second. Cam Culverwell leads this race by 2.3 seconds, and Snell has dropped to third. Now, was that a mistake, or is that Blair's just on a blinder? It could be both. It could well be both. There is a slowdown to clear for Bondi. He's up 8 spots at the moment, chasing Chapman. But the margin is 6.7 seconds right between the pair of them. Let's have a look. Here's the move. And Snell backed out of it and gave way and said to Willie Blair, if you want to go on at 10 tenths, go your hardest. And I'll grab the slipstream toe draft benefit from you and potentially fuel save a little bit down the back straight. Here we go. The full throttle section of the lap. Back to the main straight they'll come. Now, are they going to pit lane this time by? I'm interested to learn whether it's this time by or next time by. Here we go. Main straight, yes, pit lane. First round of pit stops for the night. First round of pit stops for the night. This is what happened to Dane Snadden. And 10 points for perseverance for Dane. Oh, dear. That's unlucky. In comes everybody. All the top 6 on pit road right now.
Is number 2.
Snadden's not yet conceding defeat and throwing in the towel, which I admire. There's a few others that would have already done that. But there's no surrendering on Dane Snadden's part. Everyone in the top 16 is on pit road this time by, so there is no variance in the strategy here. Out goes Cam Culverwell. Willie Blair and Ben Snell in close tow. Chapman comes out with the shortest fuel of the lot. Bondi in 18.2. Not much change in the order here, and everybody going for that full fuel stop to put themselves in the window. Oh no, oh no, oh no, oh no. Rick Gallivine, Ben Snell, Jordan Dakin, they've all got black flags. They've all got black flags for re-entering the circuit. Oh, can you believe this? This race takes yet another spin and twist and turn. Another stunner in the works. Another blip in the road. And 3 more contenders rubbed out of it. They're on their way to pit road for a drive-through penalty at the end of this lap. Can we just have a look at their pit exits, Andrew Neil? Because it'll be an issue with regards to the control line at the exit of pit lane. So here's Benny Snell. This will take you through the entire stop here, folks. There's nothing wrong with any of this. The black flags have been thrown once they've re-entered the field of play. That's advantage Chapo for a podium. It's advantage Bondi. But Snell is out of it. Alavoine is out of it. And so too Dakin. Snell. Let's have a look at this on the rejoin, because he was the first one to get slugged with the invoice. And I'm none the wiser as to how he's been slugged. That really seems odd to me.
Unless he just hit the pit limit of
possibly.
Speed early.
Possibly. What on earth is that all about? So Snell with a black flag. Dakin has cleared his. Well, okay. So Dakin has got a speeding in pit lane or an unsafe pit entry fine, one of the two, because his pit stop was 59 seconds, so he's cleared his black. But Alavoine and Snell have acquired theirs on the exit of pit lane. Because if they'd got it on the entry to pit lane, they would have been sitting stationary for 40 seconds. Right, that's a strange one for mine. Too fast out of the lane before the timing line from Greg Heaney is the advice we're getting. Thank you, mate. Yeah. Wowee. Oh, another spanner in the works. Another sting in the tail. And 2 potential race winners rubbed out of the equation. That's a tremendous leg up for Willie Blair and Cam Calverwell. The pressure valve will be released. I mean, Chapo's only 4 seconds away, and that's fine. But, and 6 seconds off Calverwell. But to have Ben Snell rubbed out of it with the pit lane transit of 30 seconds, they'll be breathing a sigh of relief now, knowing that he's not in their race. Jaden Draper chases Luke Allevoine. John Akers is 9th. And then John Merritt is still 10th. Somehow after that run in earlier. Matt Schmidtke's up into 11th spot. He'd be just happy that it's dry with poor old Schmitty. Cam Calverwell, Willie Blair, Ben Snell, and Sam Chapman and Craig Bond, the top 5. Whoa! Draper with 2 wheels in the grass. That's the next thing I'm worried about with regards to poor old Dane Snadden, our good mate there. How many incident points has he racked up, and how close is he to getting a pit lane invoice of his own? Having already spent 2:39 on the tow rope at the end of lap 2. Oh, we might not have to worry. He's in the wall. I heard that in my earpiece. In the Armco again. Dane Snadden. And if the car's broken a second time, then that'll be his night almost done, certainly. He has been able to limp away from the scene of the crime, but yes, 2:30. So here's the other thing too, because 2:39 for him on the tow rope, yeah, he's a long way back from anybody relevant in this race. 2 minutes and 47 seconds, in fact. But if he can avoid any further incidents, Andrew, he should be good to go to lap 5, stop then, and then do another 3 laps and get home, barring, of course, whether he falls a lap down at any time during the process as well. Jordan Dakin, that was his second incident. Richard King and Cameron Dakin, the only 2 confirmed retirements so far. Jonas Degen from pit lane back to where he was originally due to start in 12th. Not bad at all. But again, potentially ruining what might have been, considering that he didn't get the chance to start on the grid, and God only knows why. Still a quarter of a lap away from Benny Snell reporting back to pit lane to serve his invoice. Cameron Dakin, the headphones died, so he had to call it in. That's unfortunate, mate. Bad luck. Again, the mechanical issues of the sim world are tech issues, ladies and gentlemen. What you would refer to as a mechanical issue, like a gearbox or a brake failure or a tyre failure in the real world, we're talking about equipment, software, mechanics, internet, all that technical stuff that makes this happen. When it fails, yeah, you're a bystander. We even had someone undone by Windows scheduled update last week. So it's been that sort of season so far for technology playing its part to ruin someone's night. Draper's got by Allevoine. Allevoine is off the road. Luke Allevoine is off the road. Oh dear. He gets back going, but he's now dropped to 12th. Disaster for Allevoine. He's dropped behind Dagan, Schmidtke, Akers and Merritt. Well done to Matt Schmidtke. He finds himself in the top 10 now, and here comes Paul Wood onto the back of Luke Allevoine. Joel Janssens and Todd Suter also arguing over the same piece of real estate behind them in 14th and 15th. But Paul Wood, who's been the dominant force in the open split before being promoted, is now applying the blowtorch to Luke Allevoine. Oh, no. And all on his own. All on his own. Back to Alavoine. Down the back straight, John Merritt holds 8th at the moment. The question is, I guess the only really pressing issue that we've got now, Andrew Neil, is whether or not these guys decide to pit at the end of lap 5 or the end of lap 6, because technically they can do both and make it home, provided they've done the numbers correctly, provided they've done their homework correctly with regards to how much fuel they've taken on board, etc., etc. But based on what we're seeing, 2-lap stint would get you to lap 5. They got 3 laps out of the first stint. That'd get you home. 3-lap stint gets you to lap 6. 2 gets you home to 8. It'll be interesting to see who zigs and zags at the end of the next lap, which we're just starting now. Riding on board with Matt Schmidtke now. Let's hope that this isn't putting the mocker on him. In comes Luke Alavoine and Todd Suter at the end of that 4th lap, so maybe... Well, that'll be interesting, actually. Nathan Harvey also on pit road. Now, I'm not sure if that's because of an incident in Harvey's case. Todd Suter back out on the racetrack now after 17.2 seconds stationary. And Luke Alavoine staying put after 32 seconds, but that's because he's picked up a black flag. So Alavoine was in there to serve a penalty anyway. Now it's compounded because he's also got to claim a fast repair in the process. So Alavoine's night goes from bad to worse. And Nathan Harvey on pit road with a mechanical meatball. So we're not sure how he's acquired that. I'm sure we'll find out in a moment. Dane Snadden, in amongst all of that chaos, has moved himself up into 20th position. Up 1. Ben Snell still has that black flag to clear. So he didn't report the pit lane that last time through. He'd be filthy at the moment too, Snelly. He's only 7 seconds clear of Chapman, so that's not enough to keep him at bay. That's what happened to Nathan Harvey. A little bit further back, we'll have a look. Bang, into the wall, yep. That side-on contact will do it too. Side-on contact will do it. Culverwell, Blair, then Snell, then Chapman, then Bond, then Adams, then Draper, then Merritt, then Akers, then Schmidtke. Deggan, Wood, Friend, Janssens and King, the top 15, and Wilkinson in for 16th at the moment. Willie Blair is close to within half a second of Cam Culverwell. We've picked up John Akers. There's Blair. So Willie Blair's the one to watch at the moment, really, isn't he? 6th, 14th, 6th and 5th in the 4 races so far. Now pushing Cam Culverwell for a race win. I guess the most pleasing thing out of this, Andrew Neil, is that if it stays like this, knowing that Snelly's out of contention, and if they can keep Sam Chapman more than 8 seconds clear, because that's the margin at the moment. He's 8 seconds adrift. If they can continue to keep him at bay and he doesn't reel that margin in, we're looking at a first-time winner as far as this season is concerned tonight here at the Nordschleife.
It'll be interesting to see what happens. I reckon with City behind, save some fuel, put it on strategy.
And you wouldn't blame him if that's exactly the plan of attack that he applies here. Phenomenal performance so far from these two for Australia-wide Racing and Blair Sim Racing. Snell a distant third with that invoice coming his way. They continue to keep Chapman at bay to the tune of 8 seconds. And really, Chapo's the one you're fearful of here. Dane Snadden has now attracted that black flag that we're talking about. So he's got that black flag for incident points. And he'll have to clear that next time through. Todd Suter's already stopped a second time on lap 4. Now, my only concern with that, and Luke Alavoin's stop was 1:08, by the way, is have they shortchanged themselves as well? Are they now going to have to stop an extra time through here at the start of the final lap, for instance? Now, 3 laps at the line is 24.5 minutes, but second time through, we're almost at the end of lap 5, folks. We'll be about the end of the 41-minute mark, 42-minute mark as that happens. We're still good for time to start that 8th lap and get home the way I'm calculating it right now. But I'm open to being proven wrong if iRacing decides, well, hang on, we're going to actually run it too close to the hour mark, that we're going to flag you 15 seconds short of distance. Off track goes Dane Snadden, and onto the tow rope goes Dane Snadden, and into retirement goes Dane Snadden. Breaking news, pit lane, Dane Snadden had a black flag against his name, then it became a mechanical meatball flag. Now he's decided, you know what, it's not worth it. I'm done. See you guys next week. All the very best. Oh dear. It's not for the faint-hearted, this place. Here's what happened to Luke Alavoin. Just a simple loop-de-loop and smash of the arm coat.
One here as well for...
And that just added insult to injury for him, because as you saw on your screen there, folks, that was Sam Chapman breathing on by, cruising on through into position number 3. And Bondi's only 10 seconds off Snelly at the moment. So as Snelly comes through to serve that drive-through, Bondi's a chance, a real live chance of going 4th. Meanwhile, Cam Culverwell has extended that buffer on Willie Blair by just on a second. They head down the back straight again. We're almost at the 42-minute mark, folks. We're going to have, based on that, 3 laps to go at the line, but by gee, only just. I'm interested to see what they do here. Will it be this time through or next time through? Oh, off goes Jaden Draper. Matt Schmidtke, the beneficiary of that, goes up into 9th spot. Draper back to 10th. Schmidtke chasing Akers at the moment, looking for 8th on the racetrack. He's +9. Akers is +8. That could be +10 and 7 anytime now as the boys make their way back to the main straight. Schmidtke on the back straight. And Culverwell across the line to start lap 6. Blair goes with him. 1.3 the margin first to second. And then Chapman comes through as well. Benny Snell, is he coming to pit lane? No, yes it is. Yes, he is. We're in the pit lane now. Benny Snell. The defiance of Ben Snell. He goes to pit lane. He won't be happy. He'll be absolutely filthy with that drive-through. And now it'll be a case of whether he just drives through the lane this time through, grabs the top up of fuel next time through, or whether he decides to do both in one hit. No, he's going for the fuel stop this time through, so there you go. Now, whether iRacing says, well, since you're here, you can have a stop and hold as well, or whether he has to then come back through and do an actual drive-through remains to be seen. Jaden Draper comes to pit lane now, and so does Jonas Deggan. Akers and Schmidtke go through. They are arguing and squabbling over 7th at the moment. Yeah, Benny Snell's being held. Benny Snell is being held. So, that adds insult to injury, doesn't it? Really. He cannot take a trick tonight, Benny. So, am I reading that correctly, Schmitty? That if he'd had just completed a drive through of the pit lane, he would have been good to come back down and do a pit stop the next time through. But because he's done the pit stop, ahead of the drive-through. They've now converted that from a drive-through penalty into a stop and hold and inflicted even more pain onto him.
No, I don't actually think it changes. A stop and hold, you got to serve a stop and hold. If you've got a drive-through, stop in the pits, you'll carry that on the next lap. You'll have to serve that drive.
1 minute and 7 seconds has gone on by for Ben Snell. Thankfully, he's cleared the black flag, so that's all good. But Joel Jansen's, I told you I was going to cock that up more than once. Joel Jansen's has now got one of his own. And he's now on the pit lane, on the tow rope. So we had Joel Hansen and Joel Jansen's. That's not half confusing at all, is it? Luke Olivoyne back out in 19th spot after his own minute and 8 seconds on pit road. Oh, some costly blows tonight, some costly invoices. Through they go. Culverwell, Blair, Chapman, Bond, then Adams, Merritt, Akers, then Schmidtke, then King, Wilkinson, the top 10, Deggan, Draper, Wood, Friend, Snell, Suter, Dakin, then Jansen's, Olivoyne and Harvey. Everybody else out of business, but slowly but surely we've whittled down our number of contenders here. Bond sits fourth, now 16 seconds behind Chapman. So it's a solid run from Bondy, but it's not going to amount to anything significant unless there's serious trouble further ahead for Culverwell, Blair or Chapman. And this time through the lane, Andrew Neil, this is the critical lap. The end of lap 6, they'll be making their way to pit lane. As they do that, it'll be interesting to see how they go about it. But there'll be a few of the drivers out there already aware of the trip hazards with regards to pit entry, pit exit. And the onus will be on everybody else and those that are still in race contention to make this as smooth a transit as possible.
Actually quite funny that it trips.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm sure there are some of us that find it slightly amusing, but there'll be a few people that will not necessarily agree with your use of the word funny there. Mainly those that were penalised, I might add, funnily enough. 14 minutes to go. Cam Culverwell leads. We're only halfway through this 6th lap for you, ladies and gentlemen. Another 4 minutes of this lap to go. So, yeah, as we say, as it stands, we still somehow get back to the line before time, before we're in that window of opportunity for that white flag to be thrown, because 8 minutes and 10 seconds is about the threshold. So 51 minutes and 50 seconds. If we go past the control line anytime after that, on this lap, we're looking at the white flag. But at this stage, no. Carry on, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go around again, is my understanding. So Dane Snadden out, Richard King out, Cameron Dakin out. You've got Nathan Harvey sitting down there, last of the runners at the moment. Everybody else still on the lead lap, but there's 4 minutes, a total of 4 minutes covering 1st and 20th. Benny Snell out there having a very lonely run now in 15th. What might have been for Benny? I find it hard to believe that we could be referring to this as a drop round for Ben. Next week, of course, these guys head off to Donington Park, then on to the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps, then to Zandvoort, then we're off to the Adelaide Street Circuit, the Parklands there in the City of Churches. Then we head off to St Petersburg for sprint racing, and then the Super Sprint from Sandown. I think we missed an opportunity there. I mean, if this was the real world, there's no way in hell they'd send you to Australia and then send you back to America and then send you back to Australia. Logistically, it makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. But we could have had back-to-back Australian rounds there to round out the season. Not to be. It'll be 8 and 10 for those events. Some interesting tracks coming up, though. Donington and Zandvoort will be tricky rounds to navigate your way through. Zandvoort especially, right? Because there are so many possibilities, or so many ways in which you can trip up there, especially with it being invert racing, especially with it being difficult for overtaking. Damage limitation, thinking long-term, thinking about the overall championship picture is going to be so vitally important. Here's a replay. This was Jordan Dakin. Ooh, just a Porsche doing Porsche things on the way into the right-hander. The car just slid out from behind him, under him. And away you go. Oh, wow. I hadn't looked over my shoulder for the better part of 15 minutes. Thursday night football done and dusted. In the NRL at least. The AFL still in the third quarter. But the NRL done and dusted. The Dolphins, the Dolphins 44 have defeated the Bulldogs 12. And Channel 9's already promoting Magic Round next weekend on the wide world of sports. Thank goodness Magic Round and the federal election don't clash this year, by virtue of the fact that there is only, thank Christ, a federal election once every 3 years. Although that being said, I think we'd like to wind back a year and reconsider our vote the way things are going at the moment. Jaden Draper, 12th, has lost out to Jason Wilkinson and Cooper Friend. He's dropped down the order. Jaden Draper's in trouble. Dropped down behind Benny Snell. Rejoins in 15th. Sorry, I apologise in advance, ladies and gentlemen. Jaden Draper's got himself a mechanical meatball flag and has towed to pit lane. So we'll have a look at that incident in a tick. Here it is now for you on screen, the Disruptive Labs replay. And, crabbing like buggery. Crabbing like buggery. There was no way he was going to be able to limp that home from there. Benny Snell's off the road now as well. Benny Snell is off the road, and he's on the tow rope too. And Jason Wilkinson's off the road. Cam Culverwell, Willie Blair come to pit lane. We're at the end of that critical sixth lap. Jason Wilkinson's got a slow down to serve. Paul Wood showing off the road. All hell breaking loose on the sixth lap here at the Nordschleife. Ben Snell's parked up and done. Ben Snell's called it. He retires from round 4 of the Porsche Cup on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. There's a lot to try and pick apart in all of that. Culverwell, Blair and Chapman are all on pit road, and Bondi now joins them. What on earth has happened here to Ben Snell? Oh, the pogo stick scrapes the wall, loses the rear end, and into the wall. That's a light touch, but it's enough to just infuriate Snelly and add insult to injury and more salt into the wound, and he's decided to park up. Snell and Draper have both retired that time around, and we are down to 18 on the racetrack. All still on the lead lap. Craig Bond back out in 4th spot. 9 positions gained by Bondi, Jeff Adams, John Merritt, John Akers, Matt Schmidtke. Again, I mentioned it earlier, the possibility of there being next to nothing in terms of positions gained tonight at the moment because of qualifying and the fact that only 9 competitors set a competitive time. Willie Blair with +2 will get the bonus for most positions gained. And he could lose this spot to Cam Culverwell and still get the bonus. That's the funny part of that.
Willie Blair, 1.5 seconds less in the pit lane.
10.63 played, 12.08. Good pick up, Andrew. Well done. Chapo, 11.9 on pit road. Any queries, any inquiries, any complaints with regards to the weather? Forward it to the series admin, not to me. I had nothing to do with it. I love it. Hello, Bob. Good on you, mate. Willie Blair there in position number 1 has rejoined half a second ahead of Cam Culverwell. And Chapman is there in 3rd, 10 seconds in arrears of these two. 3rd would be a good finishing, salvaging result from Chapo, considering he didn't set a time in qualifying. Matt Schmidtke up 11, John Merritt up 5, but all those guys did not set a competitive lap in qualifying. In comes Jordan Dakin at the end of lap 6. Joel Jansen's Luke Alavoine. Alavoine off the road now and on the tow rope. So, if you don't mind, Mr. Producer, Mr. Director, Mr. Music, sorry, I'm just going all romper room on you. Can we have a look at some replays there and find out what exactly happened to Jaden Draper and Luke Alavoine? We've seen Snelly's demise, but what's happened to Draper and Alavoine? Try to fill in the gaps there, paint the picture. There is a mechanical meatball flag out for, I think it's Jaden Draper at the moment. Yes, there he is. So we didn't see.
Yeah, that was the one we seen.
We didn't see the initial part of that, did we? We saw him crabbing away, but we didn't see the initial impact that caused the crabbing. Oh, it's.
It was two-part.
Yeah, it's gone on twice. Yeah, righto. Oh no. Okay, so that part of it. So there's the crabbing's going to start any moment now. There it is. So he's obviously had impact that's damaged the front, the right-hand side of the car on the previous corner. If we were able to wind that back maybe another 10 or 15 seconds, we'll come back to it. Alavoin's got a mechanical meatball flag. So, sorry, I was trying to work out who exactly had the mechanical meatball. It's Alavoin. So Alavoin's race is almost run. The onus is on him to get out there and at least complete another lap. At least complete a sixth lap. If he can complete a sixth lap, he'll be classified on 75% of 8. And because we'll see the white flag fly for Willie Blair this time by the line. These guys aren't quite halfway through their penultimate lap, folks, but they're going to do enough to get back to the line and see white somewhere around that 59-minute marker. So literally almost a full 8 minutes of overtime coming your way right here and now, which isn't the record because we had 10 minutes of overtime in the previous enduro at the Nürburgring Nordschleife in the absolutely tipping down rain last time round in week 9 of term 1. So think about that. This is only week 4 of term 2. So it's been 5 racing weeks and 2 off weeks. So 7 weeks since we were last here, which means it's 7 weeks since Andrew Neil made his debut as the director of Thursday Night Motorsport. So that's gone quick, hasn't it?
It has indeed. I don't think I've gotten any better at it.
I'm still working on the talking part. We'll master that at one point. Alavoin has obviously done enough now to be classified at the end of lap 6. And he's now going through the final phase of his fast repair in the hope of getting back out on the racetrack to complete those final 2 laps. Have a look at this for the lead, folks. For the lead, Cam Culver around the outside of Willie Blair. Oh, the pressure's now on Culverwell to try and lead from the front for the final 2 laps at the Nordschleife. 1 lap to go when they get back to the line, and Blair holds sway. But there's nothing in this. This is a cracking scrap for line honours here in the latest round of the GSRC Porsche Cup. Not to be for Luke Alavoin. Jordan Dakin now showing off the right. Oh, Dakin's on the tow rope as well. Jordan Dakin's on the tow rope.
I just can't help but think that there's a bit of strategy here playing out for Blair.
Oh, without doubt. So Alavoin and Dakin with mechanical meatball flags showing. Alavoin trying to clear his. Dakin was more than 2/3 of a lap from pit lane when he towed, so that's a very long hold for him. He may not get back out on the racetrack tonight, but with the tow bringing him to the end of lap 7, he will get classified. If he stays in the server on pit lane, yeah, he was never pulling that up. Oh, wow, that's an enormous hit. He had no hope. That wasn't a brake failure. It was a case of trying to brake with the car sliding through the grass. That was never going to work. Willie Blair, second at the moment. Half a second the advantage. White flag flies next time by the line. There'll be 1 to go at the Nordschleife. How good's this been? Tame in parts, really filled with attrition in others. This is great stuff. Culverwell, Blair, Chapman, Bond, Ren Merritt, Adam, Schmidtke, Akers, Dagan, Friend, King, Suter, Wood, Wilkinson, Janssens, and Harvey, the top 16. Harvey 3 3/4 minutes away from the 2 leaders at the moment. There's the chance that he may still have to come to pit lane for a third stop rather. Alavoin's been on the tow rope for 5 minutes now. Oh, no, there goes Culverwell. Culverwell spun around. Blair goes back to the lead. And Culverwell's hopes of victory are being dashed. Can you believe that? My goodness. Harvey probably has to stop to get a lap's worth of fuel based on the numbers we've seen. Oh, lucky. Just the wrong bounce, the wrong little bit of momentum off the bumps. And there is a lot of undulation around the circuit, the rise and fall. One wrong move on those bumps, and it spat him out left. Culverwell drops to second. The margin is 5. He's got 4 on Chapman. They are 14 then clear of Bond, who's 7 seconds clear of Johnny Merritt, who's staring down the top 5 finish here. Cooper Friend has a slowdown to serve. White flag in the air. One more time around. Let's go at the Nürburgring. Oh, come on, Barney, do your job. One job. He's not there. Just lazy. Lap 8 is underway. We got back there with a minute on the clock. We get our 8th lap. We go virtually a full lap into overtime on the clock. It'll be about an hour and 7 worth of racing by the time we see the checkered flag. And Cam Culverwell has an almighty job ahead of him here to try and reel in 4.02 seconds now. It was 3.93. Oh, dear. Blair, Culverwell, Chapman, Bond, and Merritt, the top 5. Great run for Chapo. A pleasing run for Bondy. He'll leapfrog Benny Snell and Luke Allevoine on the points table. Bondy's going to be second in this championship at the end of the night. Although, actually, no. Possibly third, because the guy that we've got our eyes on at the moment, Willie Blair, was 5th coming into the round. Enduro points on the line, and he was 43 points off Chapo, only 10 off Bond. But Willie Blair's about to go to victory lane and grab himself a W. So it'll probably be, I want to say Chapo, Blair, Bond will be your top 3 in the championship at the end of this round. And Culverwell will also leapfrog a few names here as well with this promising performance. Luke Allevoine's been unable to rejoin the race so far. Even if he does now, it'll be 17th for him because he has now gone a lap down. Jordan Dakin trying to get back out there as well with a fast repair, although I don't think he's going to be able to. Todd Suter and Jason Wilkinson have both had to come to pit lane for a 3rd stop. So just a splash and dash for a lap's worth of fuel, and we expect Nathan Harvey will have to do the same. But we're still maybe a minute away from finding out whether that is the case or not. And we are into overtime now, ladies and gentlemen. Willie Blair, what about this? Has withstood the pressure from Cam Culverwell. Culverwell cracked. Blair prevails. Luke King with a slowdown to serve. Trying to clear that through the right-hander, does so. He's out there in 11th at the moment. Well off a top 10 finish at this stage, unless somebody runs off the track or runs into trouble or can't limp home. Jonas Deggan has been passed by Cooper Friend. Friend up into 9th, Deggan back to 10th. And again, Willie Blair with +2 is going to grab the most positions gained bonus points, if I'm doing my numbers correctly here, Andrew. Because of the 9 who qualified in this race, Snell, Draper and King are all on pit road. That's Richard King, Jaden Draper, Ben Snell. Luke Allevoine is on pit road, so that's 4. And Todd Suter started 8th and is 13th, that's 5. Jeff Adams is -1, Cam Culverwell is -1, that's 6 and 7. And I'm missing 1. I know I'm missing 1, but I can't figure out who the bloody hell I'm missing at the moment. But Willie Blair with +2 that's going to be the trump card for you, ladies and gentlemen. That is astonishing stuff. Absolutely ridiculous. Oh, Jordan Dakin was the other one. He was the 9th qualifier, and he's on pit road as well. So Allevoine, Dakin, Snell, Draper, and King all on pit road. There's 5. Culverwell and Adams -1, -2. and -5 for Suter. There's your 8. Willie Blair with +2. Most positions gained of those who are legitimately eligible for the bonus points by virtue of the fact that they set a competitive number in qualifying. So if Adam Lavis, and I know how he applies the rules, he follows the book to a fault, but that will be how the rules are applied here, and it'll be Willie Blair adding insult to injury to overtaking Cam Culverwell on this final lap. He'll grab the bonus points as well. And the funny thing is, even if Culverwell was to find a way back through with a 3-second deficit with half a lap to go, Willie Blair with +1 would still get the bonus. That's the sort of night we've had at the Nordschleife. Unbelievable. And what a moment this will be as far as Willie Blair's concerned in this championship. Announcing himself as a contender to keep an eye on in the final 6 rounds of the season. And we've got invert racing to contend with next week as well, ladies and gentlemen. We've got invert racing to contend with next week, which brings with it that added potential for drama and carnage and risk and reward. Good news for Luke Allevoine. He has managed to get back out on the racetrack, but is a lap down, a lap and nearly a half down. But he has got back out there after 9 minutes and 40 on pit lane and the tow rope to go with it. Extraordinary. So Allevoine's going to be able to get classified here, but it's looming as his first drop round of the campaign. Meanwhile, Willie Blair is still only 2 seconds clear of Culverwell. Culverwell's mounting a comeback here, but he's got to go at 11 tenths in order to do it. You can tell that Blair isn't going at 10 tenths here because he's trying to just nurse the thing home and get home in one piece. Claim the victory. You don't want to throw it away now this close to the finish line, but look at Culverwell throwing everything at it like it's a qualifying lap. Oh, no, Cooper Friend. Oh, no, Cooper Friend. Oh, no. Black flag for Cooper Friend. And that will be a post-race 35-second invoice coming his way, which will impact his finishing position. Jonas Dagan, Luke King, Paul Wood all stand to gain from that because they're within that time frame of Cooper Friend at the moment. You can't serve that drive-through penalty at the end of the race. It will be applied as a post-race penalty. And they are, of course, issued by iRacing themselves as Culverwell nearly threw it away in his pursuit of Willie Blair. He's still 2 seconds in arrears. He can at least see him now. Here comes Chapo as well. Chapo's launching a late assault on this. These blokes have left nothing on the table tonight, but as they enter the back straight for the final time, it is Willie Blair with one hand on the prize. You're looking at your top 3, ladies and gentlemen, in no particular order. And I say that because if there's a mistake made now, off goes Chapo through the weeds. It could change, but at the moment, it's not looking like it will. Willie Blair's 2.3 seconds clear. Culverwell's 2.5 clear of Chapo. And for 5 seconds to cover the top 3 at the end of an hour around this place, we salute these 3. Magnificent performance, great drive, and Willie Blair is not only going to claim line right honours here, he'll get the bonus points for most positions gained. He'll vault up the leaderboard and be a genuine threat and contender as far as this championship campaign is concerned. In the GSRC Porsche Cup, checkered flag is out and flying at the notorious Nordschleife. It's Willie Blair's night in Germany. Blair Sim Racing on top in race number 5 of 16 in this 10-round championship. In what is our only stop in Germany for the season. And what a race it was. Well done, Willie Blair. Hey, what about this bloke? He's going to be in the top 3 of the championship tonight as well, I reckon. Bondi over the line in 4th. Nicely done. And he's already in the booth. He's slid into the green room on the back straight. So ready was he to have a chat about all of that. Craig Bond in for 4th. Well done to Blair, Culverwell and Chapman. 4.66 covered the top 3 in the end. 1.8 the winning margin. Merritt, well done to Matty Schmidtke. From the booth to the grid, started at the back, finishes up 12 spots, having started 18th. He's coming home in 6th, and it pays to keep your nose clean around here, and Schmidty did that tonight. John Akers, Cooper Friend. Well, I'm interested to see what's going to happen here with Coop, because he's only 28 seconds clear of Luke King at the moment. He is 33 seconds clear of Paul Wood. So at the moment, that's not enough. I reckon he could drop 3 or 4 spots post-race here. We need to keep an eye on that. Bondi, stay with me. I'll get to you in a moment. I need to get Willie Blair first, because Willie Blair's a very happy chappy at the moment as the race winner here. You'll hear from him very shortly. Let's just get as many of these guys across the line as we possibly can before we start the celebrations, boys. There is... so Cooper Friend, there's an asterisk next to him. Jeff Adams comes home in 9th. Jonas Deggan 10th. We think they're going up. There is Luke King and Paul Wood, and then also Todd Suter. We've got our eyes on Todd at the moment in 13th spot. Unlucky for some, unlucky for others, but Todd's going to come home in 13th here. Now, if it is a 35-second invoice that Cooper Friend's copping for that black flag attained on the final lap, then it will be a drop of 4 spots. Adams, Daggan, King and Wood will all move up 1. But I want to confirm, you don't think Todd Suter's happy to see the finish of that? As he crashes across the line. In NASCAR, they call that an intentional wreck, but it's a self-inflicted one. But yes, I want to verify what that means for Cooper Friend, because it says plus 11 at the moment. I get a feeling that's going to be plus 7 once we ascertain exactly how big that invoice is that he's about to be slugged with. And there is Joel Jansen's coming across the line in 15th. Jason Wilkinson crossed in 14th, and Nathan Harvey did have to stop again on lap 7. He's going to cross the line in 16th, and Luke Alavone a lap down in 17th. We'll round out the order. Jordan Dakin will get classified at 75%, 6 out of the 8 laps. 2, 4, 6, 8. 4 is 50%, 6 is 75. He'll be right, I do believe. And then, of course, the sad state of affairs. Jaden Draper on lap 5. Ben Snell on lap 5. Dane Snadden on lap 4. Richard King and Cameron Dakin very early in the piece. Righto. Kurt Nomenson's on his way here to have a chat about the open split as well. He can stay with me. Bondi, hold tight. Coming to you in just a moment. Willie Blair, welcome to Victory Lane. How about that, eh?
It's pretty good. Not too bad at all.
Can I also relay some even more pleasing news in your direction, in the fact that because there were only 9 of you that qualified, plus 2 is enough to get those bonus points as well. So you're just cleaning us out tonight.
That's not too bad at all. That's pretty good. How many points is that extra? Few?
Well, that's a few, especially because it's an enduro night. So, I mean, there's that consideration to factor into the equation as well, mate. Talk us through it from your perspective, because, I mean, it was 3rd on the grid. Culverwell was right there ahead of you at the start. You two really, once Benny Snell got caught up with that pit lane drive-through penalty that he acquired at the end of the first round of pit stops, and then also had the spin and the crash that took him out of it, that paved the way for you guys to go at it and duke it out, and you did just that. Culverwell spinning there at the start of the final lap really paved the way for you to come through and clean up the pieces and consolidate the victory, mate, but he made you work for it.
Yeah. Well, I had a mistake right at the start, and that put me a fair few seconds off them. So I had to fight the rest of the race really to catch back up to him. Did a good job.
Talk me through the final lap, though, because once we saw that you had that buffer, it was 5 seconds. He reeled you in. It was only 1.8 at the end there. Did you taper off just a little bit to ensure that you didn't make a mistake and got it home?
Well, in the last pit stop, I actually took less fuel to try to beat him out, and I did. But then I was also just running out on the line, so I was trying to save fuel a bit.
Taking a leaf out of Chapo's book, were you?
Yeah, thought it did work. Almost.
It did indeed, and of course, lucky that it didn't go an extra lap. But we somewhat knew that it was only going to go as many as 8 laps tonight. Tough track to master, mate. But for that to be your first win of the campaign and your first podium of the campaign as well, it doesn't get much better than that.
No, it's pretty good. I've just come off the 24-hour win last weekend, so bit of practice for this one.
So now after 25 hours around here, are you happy to steer clear of the joint for a little while?
I could go back here again if it means I keep winning. But
True. Well played. Although let's analyze that, because you were 43 points behind Chapo coming into the round. He's finished third tonight. We think he's going to do enough to retain the lead, but you got the better of Alavoine, you got the better of Snell, you got the better of Bond. We reckon you're going at least as high as second on the points table at the end of round 4. So you're well poised to have a crack at the title here.
that'd be pretty nice. But I haven't been super on pace at some of the other tracks. But we'll see how the season pans out.
Well, as they say in the classics, mate, you've got to be in it to win it, and you certainly were tonight. That was phenomenal. But also, quite rightly, the drive from Cam was impressive as well. For him to, I mean, yeah, he'll be disappointed he's fallen, he's come up short. He's finished second by, a stone's throw. But that was impressive from the pair of you tonight, because, well, for him as well, I'm just having a look at where he is on the leaderboard here. 8th, 11th, and 8th. So for him, it's a PB as well. You two really stood out above the rest of the pack tonight, and I guess it did give you a little bit of an advantage in your favour to work with, and try and capitalise on the fact that you were able to qualify, and some of the other guys that were working their way through the pack did so because they either weren't in a position to qualify because they were, in Chapo's case, racing Formula V, or they weren't able to register a clean lap. So the fact that you guys were able to use qualifying to your advantage, clock a clean lap, that really set it up for you.
Yeah, absolutely. A bit unfortunate for Cam right at the last lap from to spin out like that, but just easy spot to do right there.
Well, that's exactly right. And that's the nature of this circuit, isn't it, mate? Every corner's different. There are bumps waiting to spit you out left, right, and centre. Such a difficult track to tame and master. But from your standpoint, let's talk about the car more genuinely, or generally, I should say, because everyone's had mixed reviews of the 992.2, a la the GSRC iRacing Pogo Stick. As it's been notoriously referred to. What are your views on the car? I mean, based on the results we're seeing, you rack up here, and the fact that you've had success at this circuit already this week before tonight, it would seem as though you're enjoying the challenge. But are you 100% comfortable with the car yet, or are you still in a bit of murky territory with it, still trying to learn a couple of little idiosyncrasies that it presents?
It's just a bit more practice. Like the last car, you could kind of just drive up, and now this car, you kind of have to understand where it bumps around a bit more and just drive around it.
This would have to be one of the best moments for Blair Sim Racing's infancy in the time that you guys have been involved in the GSRC.
Yeah, 100%. Come in like this, it's pretty good. There's obviously a few big names missing this season, but I'm sure they'll be
Why do
back.
we think that is?
It'll be the invitational. I reckon they're all just taking a bit of a break in
Yeah,
between the races.
but even then, let's be perfectly honest. We know why that's a problem with the supercars, because they go directly up against the Pro Invitational, because they're both on Wednesday nights, right? The Porsches, the Invitational, that is also a Wednesday night, but that means that Thursday technically should be free. So I'm not sure if that's 100% of the reason, but I do agree that it would be a small contributing factor.
Yeah, it could be a combination of people getting a bit annoyed at the car too, not wanting to really race it as much as it did when it came out.
Quickly too, because I've just noticed we're one person short in the commentary position. Our mate Jeff Adams hasn't been able to hang around too long, so I apologise, Jeff. We'll catch up with you on Monday night, hopefully, mate, if not Wednesday night. Let's quickly analyse a couple of other things here. You've got to be in it to win it. You've got to be the best of the cohort that turns up on the night. You've been able to do that. How much confidence does that give you to try and mount a challenge to the likes of Chapo over the next 6 weeks, knowing full well that Benny Snell's going to come back wanting redemption next week as well?
It'd be pretty nice to be able to battle Sam a bit more, but we'll just have to see what plays out. long season to go. So
I mentioned Chapo. You mentioned the Pro Invitational. I'll mention Chapo being part of the starting grid there. Is that something that you're eyeing off as a potential 2027 challenge?
maybe in 2027. Just didn't have the pace for it this year, really, or the practice probably.
But that's clearly, based on what you've been saying, something you've been working on, mate.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
How
depends
do
on
you
the track
feel?
they choose.
Well, exactly right. It is so track dependent, and maybe a few people might have been scared off by the Nordschleife because of the deluge of rain we copped last time we were here. I don't know. Even though we kind of begged and pleaded for dry conditions here going forward. Talk to me about what happens next, because you mentioned track selections. We've got a very interesting mix this season. Donington Park's the next stop. We go back to sprint racing. What are your thoughts on that, and when does your preparation for Donington begin?
Probably tomorrow when I do some officials, see what the times are looking like. But this season's tracks I'm not a massive fan of. Next season tracks are looking pretty good though.
Do you want to provide us with any spoilers with regards to what we're looking at for next season?
I think I'll keep that one close.
Good call. Good
Keep
call.
that one guarded for a bit.
All right. Very nicely done. Doesn't want to give anything away just in case any of his main opposition here hasn't already done their homework. I like it. Hey, where else are we going to pop up and see you racing on the platforms of the GSRC between now and next Thursday night, please?
Might jump in for the GT3s.
Why not? Why not? Sprint racing Monday night. Can't think of anything better.
Yeah, I've heard they get decent numbers too on the GT3s, so it should be good fun. I think they're at which track are they at? This
Hang on, let me come to your rescue here. Week 5, we're off to
Watkins
Sandown.
Glen. Oh, Sandown. Oh yeah,
We're off to
be good
Sandown.
fun.
Yeah. So Monday night, Sandown, Pro Am and Am in our broadcast feature races, ladies and gentlemen. So looking forward to that immensely, and of course the Formula 3s from Spa as well. St Petersburg next week for Wednesday night motorsport, and we're off to Donington Park. Is that? I mean, obviously you're preparing for it starting tomorrow, but is that a circuit that you like?
I haven't really driven on it before, like at all. So we'll see how we go.
Indeed, we will. And we're looking forward to it immensely. Hopefully, you can carry some sort of momentum away from here into that, mate. A very nice performance tonight. Very well done. It went right down to the wire. You went 7.5 minutes into overtime in order to get the job done. The nature of the beast when you're running on a 25-kilometre circuit. Well done to you. Who would you like to thank?
Thank you very much to the GSRC team as well, and Hymo Setups.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Congratulations. First win of the campaign in Term 2 of 2026 in the GSRC Porsche Cup, and richly deserved as well. Pushed every step of the way. Great challenge from Cam Caldwell. He's come up just short, but in every contest, there's only ever going to be one winner. That's you tonight. We'll look forward to seeing what you bring to the table next week, mate. Go well.
Thanks, mate.
Kurt Nubbinson, I'm coming to you shortly. Chapo as well. Bondi, how does top 3 in the championship after 4 rounds sound to you, please?
Happy. I'm happy with that. Yeah, just see how we can go for the rest of the season. But I reckon top 5 hopefully is on the card for the end of the season, and I'll be very happy if I can walk away in the top 5.
Indeed. Now, let's be honest. Solid run tonight. Bit of a lonely run though, Bondi. Once we got through those first 2 rounds of pit stops, I guess quid pro quo. If it's a bit of a lonely run like that, less chance of getting caught up in other people's incidents or garbage or getting taken out or whatever. But at the same time, it can be mentally taxing, can't it, to just be going out there and only focusing on yourself and the open road and trying to just rattle off clean lap after clean lap. I know some drivers love that aspect of racing. I know others that would much prefer to, have someone to race with and do a little bit of battling. But from your standpoint, how'd you find that? Were you a little bit lonely at times?
Oh, I was definitely lonely on track, not lonely on call. Thankfully, I had someone to actually talk with tonight, so that's
Oh
been a
God.
nice change lately. But yeah, it got really boring there. Just doing circles, many circles on many corners, and yeah. But it was good. I just could set my pace, just cruise around, kept the car in a forward motion, and not put in a wall, which is a great change for me in the Nürburgring compared to most times I'm here.
Well, that's exactly right, mate. Nice to get that little monkey off the back, isn't it?
Oh, definitely. I remember last year I ended up putting this car in the wall somewhere. I think I've done that
Oh,
every time I've driven this track.
well, I was going to say somewhere, but that doesn't just apply to the Nürburgring. That's several venues that we could rattle off on that list, Bondi. In saying that, though, mate, turnaround in form from you as well. How much work have you put into this car to net the results that you're nabbing at the moment?
None. I just turn up on a
Oh,
Thursday night, do GSRC, and go back out the door afterwards. That's all I do.
the Trent Lavis and Brenton Hobson approach to racing. I like it.
Arrive and drive, Zach.
The arrive and drive. Said not so too smugly either. From Craig Bond. But how do you feel about knowing full well that there's going to be a few more eyes on you over the next couple of weeks because you're, as I say, mental arithmetic, crunching the numbers without Adam Lavis here to do them for me. He's obviously got an early start with work tomorrow, so those numbers will be updated tomorrow when he finishes work with regards to the points. But based on my rough calculations, it's going to be Chapo ahead of Will, Blair, and then, of course, you on points. How do you go about trying to maintain the rhythm and carry on with this momentum that you've got going at the moment to consolidate an end of term result?
Just drive the car and not put it in a wall. Easier said than done. No, honestly, I might take the rest of the season pretty chill. Just try and finish all the races, get top 10s every week, no matter where I am. Hopefully, it can be top 5s, but I know when some other drivers are here and people can actually qualify. Like I wasn't able to get a lap together tonight, but when we get to a somewhat normal circuit where lap times are sub 2 minutes, then everything changes again. But yeah, hopefully it can be top 5 by the end of the season, but that's just going to need me to be on top of my game and not putting cars in walls.
And I guess the other thing as well, mate, tough task tonight for everybody, really, to go about trying to maintain that focus over a 25-kilometre lap. At least, as you say, the rest of the tracks on the tour, with the exception of Spa, all laps are less than 2 minutes. And obviously, Spa's the longest track that we go to from here on in at 7 kilometres. Everything else is a lot shorter, maybe a little bit easier to wrap your head around going forward.
I feel like my body's just super excited for that. My body is in pain after doing this tonight. I don't know why, but I'm just sore from this. And yeah, that tells you how difficult Nürburgring is. So yeah, I'm looking forward to the other tracks, but Nürburgring is just one of those tracks. It's amazing whenever you get a chance to drive it.
All right, mate. I won't hold you up too much longer because I want to get to Kurt and Chapo. And Chapo, we've got to have a chat with about Formula V as well. So I might go to him next, actually, if Kurt's able to hold on. But Bondi, thoughts on Donington now before I let you rock and roll?
Then I might have to get George to come in the call and give me some tips for coaching there. Because from what my understanding, he's done a shit ton of laps there in F4 cars lately in real
Bondi.
life. You didn't hear anything there. Yeah, I accidentally said that.
Yeah. The old S-bomb's just been let out. Aren't you lucky we're at 10:30 Eastern? Dear, oh dear. Tell me, how antsy were you getting? Itchy feet, sitting there just waiting for iRacing to make up its mind to end the qualifying session 12 minutes into overtime, please?
I couldn't care. I was just sitting on my phone messaging people. So hard life being me, isn't it, Zach?
Clearly, clearly, by his own admission. And no sympathy from Andrew Neil either, by the sounds of that. Thank you, Bondi. Well done. Who would you like to thank, boy, from Gundagai?
All my sponsors: Bond Motors, Gundagai, Craig Bond Racing, Karoo Enterprises, South Gundagai Automotive, Gundagai Tilt Trays, Vuco, River End Go Kart Centre, Boyle Kart Club, and IMI, and UZAC, and GSRC.
You're welcome. You're very, very welcome. Go and get some sleep, mate. Enjoy school tomorrow. Good luck with the weekend. And we will see you. Obviously, we're not on broadcast tomorrow, so we'll see you Monday.
I ain't got school. I've got cross country, but thank you, Zach.
Oh, well, hey, at least it's some sort of sporting, leisurely activity. It's not a round of golf, but it's good enough. Enjoy cross country. Good luck.
Thank you.
Good luck. Hope the body feels less hurt from cross country.
Yeah, exactly.
I've got an hour and 3/4 or whatever in a hype car, so maybe ask back on Monday after I have some recovery.
Yeah. I was going to say, just keep up the Powerades tomorrow. It sounds like you're going to need all the electrolytes or something. Battering and bruising your body, putting it through all this torture and torment and punishment with an hour of the Nordschleife and then an hour and 3/4 of GEC tomorrow night and cross country in between. Oh, to be young again and have all that fitness, eh? Go well, Bondi. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh dear, I love it. I was never any good at the old cross country thing, but I'd love to have the energy that I had at 16. Once more, I don't have it at 35. I can tell you.
Wouldn't we all?
Chapo,
Wouldn't we all?
Sorry, Andrew.
Wouldn't we all?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah. Sometimes it's overrated though. Chapo and Kurt Normanson are here. Now I haven't got the results from the open split, so I'm relying wholly and solely on Kurt Normanson to bring them to my attention in just a few moments. But Chapo, let's go to you. We'll talk about the Nürburgring in just a moment, but the Miami International Autodrome. Nice to eventually nab a win there, I take it.
Yeah, I guess. Hardy track, honestly. It was good to nab a win in the final. I think I would have thrown the toys out the cot if I didn't.
Well, to be fair, I thought you'd already done that at the end of race 2.
I had done that at the end of race 2.
And there's a comment on our YouTube thread that will verify that.
Yeah, I had done that at the end of race 2. I was ready to throw some pretty egregious moves in race 3. Dear. Went 3 wide on the first lap, and that put us in second, and then it was just a catch up. So, it was good to get one in. After some disappointing incidents in the first 2 races.
All right, so give it to us straight, right? Your take on the incident, last turn, race 1, Lockie Purvis, please.
Oh, I mean, he decided to stick it up the inside. There's not a car width there. So, it's, I think he thought it was a racing incident. I think that's delusional. Nevertheless, we'll see what race control comes up with. I think he thought that I was going to give room on the inside, but the whole point of that corner was to check it up and keep it tight so there wasn't that option to overtake. So, disappointing there.
I'm not going to lie, ladies and gentlemen. I'm kind of happy about the fact that there's still some fire in the belly. I thought the race win might have calmed him down, but he's still spicy. And Chapo After Dark is compulsory viewing on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, and luckily I know which size and the right sort of bait to throw in his general direction. Because that makes it all the better. Listen, let's talk about the track itself, because very different to Summit Point. You had to work hard for your overtaking opportunities. You mentioned that notorious last corner. Very difficult to actually consolidate a move there. 9 times out of 10, we saw drivers bowling it wide, going too deep into the corner, compromising their run out of the corner. So if you were the car being overtaken, it was very easy to do the up and under, but the compromise of that was that you would end up putting yourself on the outside for the rundown to turn 1. Very dicky racetrack in terms of trying to move your way forward, and that was evident by the way in which a lot of that third race was single file sort of stuff for the majority.
Yeah, it is a tricky track to make your way forward on. It's quite just a tricky track to drive. You got to take a lot of curbs in a lot of those corners, and that can be relatively tricky in the Vs. So you've got to be pretty careful and take those curves well. I think Braden was probably, at least in that first race, taking them a bit better and a bit more consistently, and they sort of grew on me as time went on. But yeah, no, it is tough. And then, on a final lap situation, you just have to make sure that you hold that inside tight. So if you hold it tight, there's no way cars can, up and under on you if it's parked on the apex and you're just going to launch out in seconds. So that's the concept. Unfortunately, wasn't able to sort of use that really at any point that night because final race was had enough of a margin, and the other two races were in the sticks for various reasons. But a tricky track, and not too much room for error. Fortunately, no damage, but yeah, I mean, it creates pretty decent racing in those. Still, like it's the right sort of size for them, but you've just got to be ready to catch the car.
Indeed. And obviously next week, Formula V, very different racing again. As we have a look at that schedule and where we're off to next, of course, the Nürburgring Grand Prix Strecke. So part of the circuit that you're on tonight, the short version of the Grand Prix layout, essentially. What are your thoughts on how Formula V might fare there?
Yeah, I mean, very different track. Very wide. It doesn't have the longest straights necessarily of a normal size track, but it will have very, very long straights for Vs. So I would imagine it will be very tight and it'll be very slipstreamy, which will create good viewing.
Indeed it will. I'm looking forward to that already. And I'm happy to report, I thought Adam Lavis had already packed up and shot through for the night, but no, he hadn't. He is crunching the numbers for Formula V as we speak. So hang tight, Chapo. I'll have an update for you shortly. While we wait for that, let's focus on the Porsche now. You made a last gasp sort of ditch effort to clock a lap in qualifying. That didn't work. So from the back of, from the mid-pack of those that didn't qualify, I think you were 11th on the grid, or 10th on the grid. You made your way through quite nicely. You had to play the patient game in the early part to work your way through. And then as incidents continued to happen around you, particularly with someone like Betty Snell getting caught up and exiting stage left, the seas parted nicely for you. Good strategy play as well, although not there was too much of that to be played tonight. It was pretty simple mathematics, 3, 3 and 2, or 3, 2 and 3. There were a couple of guys that sold themselves short, but they'll learn. But from your standpoint, very different assignment to the Miami International Autodrome. What were your thoughts on 60 minutes around here, and are you happy with third?
Not really. It's just like, I guess with the rolling lap for the Vs and all that sort of thing, it did mean that
yes,
there was very, very little time to, you join 10 minutes into qualifying and each lap is 8 minutes. It left me, with no room for error. So, and unfortunately, it's my bad, off tracked in that first lap, and I didn't have the fuel for another one. So, just went, okay, well, I guess we're going to start back in the field a bit, which was frustrating because, that first lap probably, it was a good start, but then got stuck behind and probably needed to be a little bit more decisive and take it rather than sitting behind because, by the end of that lap, Cam was 8 seconds out and, these guys ended up winning by less than that. So, it's, having said that, I could have driven better as well. There was a number of times where, I lost a fair bit of time from either little slowdowns or losing the rear. The car felt a bit loose. I think I was overheating the rears. That was annoying. And then, once those guys were, 10 odd seconds ahead, it wasn't until Cam had his accident and they couldn't play together anymore that it looked like maybe there was a chance there. And I was pushing unbelievably hard in that final lap to try and get into the slipstream, which I almost did. Got to 1.8 at one point, but had just over pushed that little bit, I think, on the rears once again, and lost them in that final sector, which, yeah, once again, frustrating because, if you're sort of 1.6 behind, there's a good chance you might get them by the end of the straight in this. So, that's an error that probably should have got there, and there were errors throughout the race. But having said that, those guys they were quick, they raced well, and didn't make any serious errors other than Cam's incident, which he recovered. So would have been good to quali. Would have been good if I probably didn't over push the car early on, trying to catch back up. But I mean, all things considered, not being able to quali in that, you'd take a P3.
Indeed, you would. And I guess the other thing as well, mate, when we have a look at the lay of the land there in regards to how it all played out, 5 seconds separating the top three of you, or actually just under that, at the end of an hour is an extraordinarily tight margin. I guess there's also something to be said about there being a very fine line between pushing it as hard as you did and pushing it too far to the point where you trip yourself up on the final lap. You managed to avoid doing so. So, I mean, you would have been kicking yourself had you pushed it too hard in the name of maybe one position. Probably weren't going to get two in the name of one position and then trip up. And if you're ever going to trip up anywhere, a notorious beast like this is probably top of the list.
Yeah, that's true. And I almost lost it a couple of times in that final lap while I was pushing really hard.
We saw you in the grass at one point, don't worry.
I think that was just like, well, bugger it, we're taking the grass, it's over now. I think I was in the grass a few times. So, that would be unfortunate. I mean, having said that, we had margin. So even if I was to go around, as long as the car still, went roughly in the right direction, I should have been okay. But that jump's grim. It's you wouldn't want to screw it up and completely ruin your race. That would be very costly on an enduro round where there's extra points. So obviously Holt was hoping to push a few more extra points on top, but given a few other rivals in that race also got tripped up. It's not looking too bad from that perspective.
No, not looking too bad at all. What's looking all right here too, boys, is with a minute and 45 to go, Fremantle have come from 10 points down to be 8 points up. They lead Hawthorn 11-15, 81 to 11-7, 73. Now they have this shot to extend that lead out even further and make life really difficult for Hawthorn, because if they kick it, which they have, it's 14 points and game over. Hawthorn are going to lose on their trip across the Nullarbor to the Fremantle Dockers, and the Dockers are flying at the moment. They're going to stay in the top four in the AFL Premiership points race at the moment. So well done to Fremantle on a Thursday night. Let's analyse a couple of other things here, Chapo. We've ticked off the Enduro. We know that Willie Blair is going to be there on points. We know Bondi's going to be there on points. We know Snelly's going to want some sort of redemption, and he's not the only one. How do you go about managing the fine margin that you have at the top of the leaderboard, that slender advantage when we go to Donington Park for sprint racing next week? And what are your thoughts on that circuit as far as these cars are concerned?
I think Donington will be good. I don't know which layout it is, but regardless, Donington will be good. Grand Prix? Okay. I think it'll be a good track. Usually puts on good racing. So, and I've had decent enough performances there. So, fingers crossed, we can put something together and keep extending that lead. I think that'll play out. Sprint points as well. We like a sprint. I'm looking forward to that one.
Bit of rain in there as well, Chapo.
I was wondering that. There usually is at Donington. Yep. So
exactly.
I don't mind that. I tend to do okay in the rain in these things. So fingers crossed that particular piece of form can continue. But it does make it tricky around there, and obviously you can be prone to error. So we'll just have to make sure we play it safe and can keep trying to extend.
We're looking forward to Donington next week. No surprise to see rain in the equation there because it's just typical Great Britain. That's number one. And number two, for the benefit of everybody at home, we will be bringing you the second race from the Elite Split, the opening race from Kurt's Open Split next weekend. Looking forward to that immensely. Chapo, what's on your racing radar for the next 3 days before we reconvene for Formula 3 and GT3, please?
Oh, I don't think anything's on my radar at the moment. Bit more of a cut down schedule. So
yes,
yeah, I might not really have too much until next Thursday at this rate. So yeah, we'll see how we track. Maybe I'll be able to go outside and touch some grass.
Got to watch what you got to watch how you say that, or particularly where you're positioned in the world when you say that, because there's some postcodes, particularly around here where I live, where they'd be asking you what type of grass you're talking about. Chapo, thank you. Well done. I don't think there's anything else left to ask you, but do stick around because as soon as those points are updated, I'll update you and everybody else at home. Who would you like to thank, please?
Oh, thanks for putting it on, guys. Thanks to my team at VE. But yeah, as usual, just thanks for keeping it all together, and Trav for doing race control as well.
Provisional point standings before any tinkering is done by race control with post-race reviews and all that sort of stuff. And what I'm reading here at the moment is points for the round. This flew under the radar. John Merritt, second, third, and third, trumps everybody. 153 points. Played Braden Sagassa 147 and Lockie Purvis 142. Chapo was next on 138 points for the night. And the top five, Chapo holds an 85-point lead over Derek Fitzgerald, who is the fifth place runner at the moment, 486. Adam Lavis is fourth on 505. 523 for Purvis, 544 for Sagassa. And Chapo with a 27-point advantage on 571 points. So there's the breakdown of the night for you. And for the third time in 4 weeks, 3 different race winners in a night of Formula V action on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club with thanks to Disruptive Labs. Nicely done. And I trust that we'll have an update from the Porsches potentially shortly, maybe not. I'll just wait and see if there's any movement from Adam Lavis in the next 10 minutes or so whilst we have a chat to Kurt Nommensen and wrap everything up here. But Chapo, that's a little slender advantage. You probably can't afford to rest on your laurels there.
No, absolutely can't. Been here before and watched it slip away, so certainly can't rest on our laurels, and yeah, we'll just have to keep pushing and keep putting in consistent efforts. We were fortunate tonight that despite both incidents, I was able to stay in that top 10 and get half decent points, but yeah, that's not a given in these things, so fingers crossed, may it continue.
And as Matty Schmidtke has correctly highlighted there, 3 clean races, 3 fastest laps. And I think most positions gained went his way in that last race as well for John Merritt. So, yeah, that is a scintillating performance from him, no doubt about that. Thank you, Schmitty. Thank you, Chapo. Well done.
Cheers.
And last but certainly not least, hello, Kurt Nommensen.
How are we?
I'm well, mate. I need you to do my job for me for a moment here, and give me some intel as to the results of the open split, if you don't mind.
Just have to give me a second to grab him back up again. But
No. We only teed him up about this half an hour ago, folks. Oh, hang on.
I wasn't paying much attention. You were talking to me.
Andrew Neal might have something here for us. He's just got to widen that screen a little bit. We can tell you the race was won by 8.574 seconds.
That'd be by Eduardo.
We just can't tell you who the bloody hell it is. I love it. Very nicely done. Andrew Neal, appreciate that. Here comes the info you've all been waiting for, ladies and gentlemen. Here we go. Eduardo Zamora from Sean Bedici, Adam Lavis, Kelly McLaren got out there in the end. Very nicely done. Jacob McIntyre, Liam Amos, and then Shane Beaumont, Joel Hansen, Kurt Nommensen, and Daniel Correa made up the top 10. Righto. So we are talking to 9th. In this instance, ladies and gentlemen. Sum it up from your standpoint, please, Kurt. Again, 8 laps, bloody long way around. Tough old night, hard slog, but at least it was dry.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I had a lot of pace in the car. I started 19th, and I think before the first stop, I was inside the top 10. So definitely had a lot of pace, but I got a speeding penalty because of limited double pressed in the second pit stop. So bit of a downfall there, but I'm pretty happy with the top 10, all things considered.
By the way, folks, just to give you some context with regards to that AFL match, 15 points the margin, 12-16-88, played 11-7-73. They're going off tap at Optus Stadium in Perth at the moment. Fremantle go to the top of the leaderboard. Obviously, there's still another 8 games to come this round, but Freo go to the top of the table with that win on 32 points. With the Swans, the next in line on 28, but again, they still have their match against North Melbourne coming up this weekend. So every likelihood that they will go back to the top of the leaderboard on Saturday afternoon. Very nicely done. Does it get any easier to sit there and mentally put yourself through the concentration required to get through over an hour of racing at the Nordschleife?
It does. It definitely does, and it helps that I am really enjoying driving this car, and it felt really nice around here. So I was actually, even when I was driving by myself, I sort of wasn't getting frustrated or bored. I was enjoying myself and having a good time as I threw this thing around the ring. So it was a good time.
Talk to me about what the difference was between you and the guys at the front of the field. I mean, obviously, that's a great result for Eduardo. Good to see some regular names up there having a solid run, but what's the difference when you're, what was it, about 100 seconds down the road? Where was it won and lost?
I was in the pits and not getting a lap in qualifying because I just touched the grass a bit too much and off track it right at the end of the lap. So definitely had the pace to be up near the front. If I, could have got a quali and could have got all my little things together, but that's just things to work on for the next time we go to the ring.
Which, well, who knows when that'll be, but we're making it a regular habit of late. We've been here twice this year already. Chances are we might come back again, if not term 3, maybe term 4. But do you get sort of fatigued once you spend too long at a circuit? We've gone through it with Daytona, of course, at the beginning of the year. Now the Nürburgring. The next saturation incoming will most likely be Le Mans, then Spa.
Personally, I don't, but I definitely know that the ring is mentally taxing, so it's very easy to get burnt out of the track. But it's one of the tracks that I really, really enjoy driving around. So it's one of the ones that I don't really get burnt out of, no matter how many laps I do around here.
All right, very nicely done. Interesting insights from you there, Kurt. I guess the other thing as well, hard, isn't it, when you just touch the grass and it undoes 25 kilometres of hard work. That really is a dagger in the heart, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it's especially frustrating when you do your whole out lap, you don't go off the track, and you come round and you get through turn 1, you get into turn 2, and you're off track on the exit as well. So it's just those little things are a little bit frustrating, but yeah, just things you got to work on and consistency that I've got to start putting together around here and keeping it within the track limits around here. It's very easy to go off track, pushing that little bit, trying to chase that tenth of a second around 25 kilometers.
Talk to me about what's next on your racing radar, mate, and what are your immediate thoughts on how Donington Park might fare? And I mean, obviously, if you can finish 9th in race 1 there, you're going to get the opportunity to be on the front row for race 2. How do you go about preparing and planning for Donington?
My next on the racing radar, I'll probably just be back here next Thursday and doing this all again. So I'll probably spend the couple days off I've got next week doing some laps around Donington and then do some laps before the race. And hopefully it's enough to keep me around the top 10 for the night and just bank those consistent points for the season.
And what's the weekend look like in the world of Kurt Nommensen? Anything pressing on, or is it just normal grind of work?
It's just work this weekend. I've got 2 days of work tomorrow and Saturday, and then I get Sunday, Monday off. So I get a belated weekend.
Belated weekend. I'd love to have one of those, but no. It's 2 days of work coming up for me this weekend, and then straight back into it on Monday night. No rest for the wicked, as they say. Very nicely done, mate. Well done getting through the hour tonight. Tough slog. Actually, technically hour and 8 by the time you take into consideration the form-up time and the overtime to complete that 8th and final lap. But we're not complaining because any overtime is good overtime, considering that we've been shortchanged a couple of times in previous weeks. So it's good for us to actually win from a financial standpoint. Better value for money over iRacing for once. Good luck over the course of the next few days, mate. We will see you on Monday night and looking forward to that.
No worries. I will see you guys. It'll be next Thursday. I'm not doing the GT3s at the
Oh,
moment.
of course not. No, sorry. No, my apologies. Force of habit. But yes.
Yeah, I used to do it a lot, but yeah.
Thursday night, and hopefully we'll get you to have a spin of the Vs at some point as well.
Maybe we'll see.
We're slowly trying to recruit more and more people. Chapo, you're still here. Are you a little bit surprised that we haven't actually been bursting at the seams with Formula V grids yet?
I mean, last time they ran, they weren't bursting at the seams either. I think, we've still had decent sized grids. It's not been too bad. I mean, something like the MIA loop, I don't think is going to bring the troops as well. I can see some old favourites potentially being a bit more effective at bringing people out, but people, I guess, haven't jumped on it quite the same way. I think a lot of the old favourites have, which is good. Although I don't think I saw Chris Noble out there tonight. I mean, I'm always surprised because I think they're brilliant cars to race, and actually I think the changes to them have probably made them better in that respect because it's not quite as much of a slipstream battle at every track, and probably makes some larger tracks a little bit more feasible. I mean, less, it is what it is.
Indeed it is. Looking forward to hopefully seeing a few more bums in seats over the next couple of weeks. Very good to see John Merritt back and immediately back in form as well. And as we say, Chapo with a slender advantage there in the championship to enjoy for the moment. No update from the Porsche standings, so we'll bring them to you on Monday night, ladies and gentlemen. Can we just take an opportunity before I forget, because I always seem to forget something at this time of the night. Happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there on Sunday, in the event that no one's on air tomorrow night to say it on behalf of anyone else from a club standpoint, on behalf of all of us. Big happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there for Sunday. I've got a sister celebrating her, what's Harper now, 10, so this will be Lachey's 11th Mother's Day. Natanya, my other sister, is expecting later in the year, so this will be her last Mother's Day before she's a parent, a proper. And Mum, well, she's up to Mother's Day 36 and going gangbusters as well. So happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there for Sunday. Make sure you go out and spoil them and look after them, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe even, brilliant timing from Matt Schmidtke, maybe even pick them up some merch from the merch store and deliver that to them as a present on behalf of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club. Have a look at that. Nice, comfy, cosy T-shirts just to, keep you warm as winter approaches. Merch.tgsrci.com is where you go for all your GSRC merch and paraphernalia. GSRCmerch.myshopify.com will take you to the same place. And as you can see there, bucket hats, bottle openers. Sorry, why did I say Matt Schmidtke? Andrew Neal is in because Schmitty was here at the start of the night. Well done, Neely. Very nicely done. Let me retract that. Let me get back right on knowing exactly who's pressing the buttons at any particular moment. Back on the straight and narrow. Merch.tgsrci.com. And that's the other thing that threw me, because there's Matt Schmidtke on screen. So I had Schmidtke on the brain for some reason. I don't know what's going on. Let me get out of here, because I'm going to dig myself a hole that I can't get out of otherwise. But yes, big happy Mother's Day to the mums out there. Hopefully you get sport rotten. You deserve it. You're the unsung heroes of any given household. We couldn't do it without you. We love you dearly. So enjoy that. And I look forward to having a chat with mine on the phone on Sunday night, mainly just to let her know that I've got home from Warwick safely and have successfully avoided all the kangaroos on the road on the Cunningham Highway. Let's remind you of what's coming your way, because it's a big weekend of motorsport in the real world. We mentioned the GEC. That's tomorrow night from the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps, the endurance layout. Well, it's the same, but the pit lane's different, right? 300 kilometres, 105 minutes, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. At this stage, no broadcast, but if that changes, tune in 8:25 Eastern Standard Time. Friday night usually brings with it a spin of the John Burgess Wheel of Fortune to determine the car of choice for Saturday night for our Mountain Men Spectacular. 32 laps around Mount Panorama Bathurst, 200 kilometres, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is when that all gets underway. Real World Motorsport this weekend's magnificent. I'll rattle all that off in just a moment. But next week, we get to week 5. We start week 5 on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. The week that gets us to halfway through term 2 of 2026. And we do so by commencing back at the circuit to Spa-Francorchamps, but this time for 30 minutes of Waste Options Formula 3 action, 7:25 Eastern Standard Time. Then on to Sandown for Waste Options GT3. And that'll be the second consecutive sprint round, the second of 4 for the campaign. 2 sprint races, 8:25 Eastern Standard Time. AM Split Race 1, Pro-Am Split Race 2. Hope you can join us for that. Over the page we go. I think at this stage, Dan Yeaman might be with me. He has been the last 3 Monday nights. Adam Lavis is finding himself a new home on Wednesday nights at the moment, but that's purely working in with Yeaman's work commitments in the real world. So if they change, then probably so will the broadcast roster. Tuesday night, have a look at that. Skip Barber's Barber Motorsport Park. I like the use of the Skip Barber at Barber, just for the name's sake. 2 races, 15 minutes and 20 minutes apiece. The session itself opens at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, racing soon after that, after practice and qualifying, of course. Wednesday night, we stay in the United States, but we go to St. Petersburg in Florida. Now, this will be good because we've got sprint racing in the supercars, and we've got a 40-minute race for the Toyota RD6s. 40 minutes was enough as far as entertainment was concerned last night. Geez, those boys turned it on. Really good stuff from the 1-9 stable and Benny Snell and the Toyotas. Hopefully they can deliver the same sort of entertainment at the newest circuit on the server. 40 minutes there, the journey for the Toyotas, 7:25 Eastern, and then, of course, on to the Grand Prix layout again for the supercars. But into sprint mode we go, and that is from 8:45 Eastern Standard Time. Thursday night, off to the Nürburgring Grand Prix Strecke. Now, this is the short configuration, and it's without the arena layout. So it's 2001 short, righto? To put it into layman's terms, because the extension, the arena layout, got added in between 2001 and 2002. So it is the 2001 short configuration of the circuit. So the back straight, the front straight, and of course there is that little right-hander before you get to the left-hander at what is turn 3 on that layout of the Grand Prix circuit. There is a little right-hander that flicks you back onto the main straight after the Schumacher S. That's the configuration we're on next week for Formula V. That is 7:25 Eastern Standard Time, and 3 sprint races there, followed then by another sprint round, but this time in the Porsches. So all sprint racing next Thursday night. We're excited about that. Off to Donington Park, 2 sprint races there. 8:40 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll be on air with that. Again, I believe there will be a baton change partway through. Matt Schmidt in for the Vs, Andrew Neil here for the Porsches. And we'll take it to Donington Park. First up for the open split at 8:45, and then about 17, 18 minutes later, 20 minutes later, let's round it up nicely for you. About 9:05 is when we'll kick in with our coverage of the feature for the elite split, and we're looking forward to that immensely. I guess I should get final thoughts from you, Andrew Neil. Entertaining night. Good to see Willie Blair grab a win. Unlucky for Cam Culverwell, but there was always going to be a hard luck story in that. They tested one another right at the very end, and unfortunately, just one wrong bump for Cam Culverwell. The difference. Good racing. Formula V a bit tame by their standards, but they'll make up for it next week. Indeed, it was. Thank you to you for your efforts throughout the course of this evening. Hope you enjoyed it out there. Big weekend this weekend. Looking forward to it immensely. If you're going out to the Autumn Historic meeting at Morgan Park Raceway in Warwick, I look forward to seeing you there. If not, strap in, buckle up, hold on tight. Plenty to enjoy on the telly from a motorsport standpoint. I mentioned, obviously, Mother's Day is a priority this weekend, and happy Mother's Day to all the mums out there. But obviously, there's NRL, there's Live Golf action, there's AFL, there's Super Rugby, there's Super Netball, there's A-League men's and women's finals, along with, how's this? English Premier League, MotoGP, French Grand Prix, World Endurance Championship, Belgium, IndyCar, Indianapolis on the Grand Prix layout, Speed Series from Shell v Power Motorsport Park in South Australia as well. That's on Fox Sports. And, of course, if you don't mind, Sail GP back in business as well from over in Bermuda, if you don't mind. And on Monday morning, I think we've all got an eye on this because we love it when Shane Van Gisbergen gets an opportunity to flex his muscle on a road course. We're off to Watkins Glen on Monday morning in the NASCAR Cup Series. So a lot to look forward to over the course of the next few days. Hope you enjoyed that. Thank you to you, Andrew Neil. Thank you to Matt Schmidtke before him. Thank you to you out there for your company throughout the course of this week. Again, make sure you look after your mum on Sunday. Well done to Freo, 15-point winners over Hawthorn. The Dolphins too good for the Bulldogs in the NRL. And some Indian Premier League coming up later tonight for the cricket fans out there, and the Insomniacs and the Night Owls as well. It's a great time of the year to be a sports fan. On behalf of all the crew here, the GSRC broadcast commentary and production team, I'm Zach Caban. Have a great weekend, everybody. We look forward to your company Monday for the commencement of our 15th week of competition for the season, the 5th week of Term 2 of season 25 on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club across Facebook and YouTube. It's all live, exclusive and free. We hope you're enjoying it as much as we're enjoying bringing it to you, and we look forward to your company next time. Until then, have a great evening, everybody. Bye for now.